Today, we're deep diving into the Hive enemy race inside Destiny 2. If you're just starting the game, figuring everything out can take a while, so in this video, I'm gonna break down what each Hive is, what they do, and where to aim your bullets to put them in the grave. Let's start with Thrall. These are the lowest ranking member of the Hive race, and you're gonna see them in groups that try to swarm you with melee attacks. To avoid that, just jump high into the air. Occasionally you'll see them with solar shields, and to get that yellow crit damage, just shoot them in the face. Thrall look a lot like a space monkey with a drug problem, but more often than not, you can wipe out the entire group with any kind of AoE damage. If you find yourself surrounded, take to the sky and start putting them down. Cursed Thrall are the glowing blue variant, and these kamikaze gremlins are gonna try to run into your face and blow themselves up. No matter what level of content you're playing, these can absolutely wreck you, so you want to make sure to keep your distance. If 2 or 3 of these get into melee range, you might as well say goodnight. Just like the regular Thrall, their crit spot is the head, and that thing glows like a firefly, so it's pretty hard to miss. Shooting them while they're far away is definitely the safest bet, but if you want to have the time of your life, you can detonate them by jumping right over their head. Cursed Thrall are too stupid to know their own blast radius, and they'll explode their bodies while you fly safely above. Just make sure to get some height first, or things are gonna go south quick. Now we're gonna cover the Acolytes, which are the foot soldiers of the Hive army, and these puny looking nerds can show up with a couple of different guns. Typically you'll see them with a Void or Solar pistol. These are pretty easy to avoid, but the bigger the group, the more oppressive it can get. Occasionally they'll have a Void sniper, and those are really the ones you want to prioritize first. Shoot them in the head before they do the same to you. Acolyte's special ability is a solar grenade that explodes on impact and leaves a burning patch on the floor. They don't have much of an arm on them, so you'll see them flying slowly through the air. Try not to be near them when they land. Certain activities have a modifier that makes these enemies drop pools of fire when they die, and I probably shouldn't have to tell you this, but don't stand in it. Next we need to talk about Moths, and I bet you a beer you didn't think I'd be saying that when you clicked on this video. The Hive have these little moth cronies that fly into their body and give them an overshield. If you're ever in the throne world or doing a campaign mission, and you see an enemy with a blue health bar, that dude's got himself a moth enema. To remove it, just deal a little bit of damage and it'll pop up out of nowhere like Navi. If you ignore it, it'll find a new butthole to climb up and give someone else an overshield, so put a bullet right through its body. When the moths die, these little fuckers explode with arc damage, and that's real annoying when it kills you. Make sure you're not right underneath them, or they'll do to you what you did to the cursed Thrall. Knights are like Hive lieutenants, and they're as dangerous as they are ugly. You'll almost always see them with an arc shield, and to pop it, it's time to bust out an arc weapon. Knights come in 2 varieties, the first of which is the Boomer, and the gun they use shoots giant meteors of arc damage that hit like a truck. This can tag you from around corners and takes away chunks of health at a time. Their special ability summons a wall of darkness, and for a few seconds they're gonna sit behind it and regenerate health. During that time they can't fight back, so there's nothing stopping you from walking to the other side of the wall and shooting them right in their stupid face. The other kind of knight you'll see wields a giant Hive sword, and he's definitely not compensating for something. As you might imagine, their game plan is to run into your face and cut you in half. To avoid that, create as much space as possible and jump over them when they get close. Every now and then you'll see one with a bone shield, which is cute, but it breaks into pieces if you hit it hard enough, which seems like poor design. Shoot him in the dome and keep your distance. Say hello to the Hive Wizard, cause we've officially made it to the enemies that are not playing games. These look like a cracked out grandma, and they pretty much always show up with a solar shield, so bring a solar weapon. Just like most of the other Hive, their crit spot is the face. Wizards can summon a field of darkness, which looks like a stink cloud, and when you get caught in it, you can't double jump or sprint, and you'll start taking damage over time. They fire arc volleys from their hands, and once they get started, it can feel like they shoot forever. That combined with the darkness cloud can absolutely destroy your health, but you can interrupt the barrage by hitting them hard enough, so don't be afraid to use a special or heavy weapon. Next up is the Shrieker, which is basically an eyeball, and it's one of the deadliest enemies the Hive have. They've got rotating armor plates for a body, fire off bolts of void damage, and to get those yellow crit numbers, you want to shoot them right in the pupil. Their special ability, if you can call it that, is curling up in the fetal position. If you blind them or get too far away, that eye's gonna close up faster than a shampoo mishap, and as soon as you approach, it's gonna start beaming you again. To live to see another day, you want to play close to a piece of cover, peek shoot it with a sniper rifle or some kind of heavy, and you'll be good to go. This here's a Hive Ogre, and this testicle with a body is as deadly as it is scary. The eye beam they fire hits for massive void damage, and if you get anywhere close, they're gonna Hulk smash you right into the dirt. To put them in the grave, keep your distance and bust out a heavy weapon. I find rocket launchers work best, and just like the Shrieker, you're gonna want to stay nut to butt with a piece of cover and only pop out when you're ready to fire. Killing them with special weapons is significantly more dangerous. Ogres have a frenzy ability, and you can tell it's happening because they'll hold up their fist like a 5th grader that wants your lunch money. Keep backing up while they charge you, and put in damage till they pause to reconsider their life choices. The Lightbearers are the highest ranking member of the Hive race, and each one mimics a Guardian subclass you'd use as a playable character. At the time of this recording, there's 3 variants you'll see in the wild, and the Acolyte is a pseudo gunslinger hunter. These things come equipped with a swarm grenade, which releases a cloud of spikes that linger for a bit and track onto your location when you get close. You can shoot them if you want, but it's a lot easier to just not walk into them. Their class ability is a dodge maneuver, which as you might expect, makes them gently strafe to the side. All of the Lightbearers have a super just like a Guardian, and if you look at their eyes, there's actually a visual cue letting you know it's charged and ready to go. The Acolyte has a deadlier, sexier version of the Hunter Blade Barrage, and while that's active, every time they dodge, it spawns a bunch of flaming knives that lock on and smack you in the face. These are quick enough that even if you try to duck them, a lot of times some of that damage is still gonna make contact. Because of that, you wanna pause and let the blades explode before you peek out and fire off your heavy. If you're feeling lazy, you can literally just wait for it to end. There's no shame in engaging them when they're less dangerous. When you kill a Lightbearer, they leave a ghost behind that'll resurrect them after a few seconds if they're not destroyed. For that you have to be relatively close, and as soon as it dies, you want to start smashing your finisher. If you're within range, you're going to snatch that Hive ghost right out of the air and crush it to pieces. This is the Titan version of the Hive Lightbearers, and this Roid Rage Grimace comes equipped with everything you'd expect. Their class ability is throwing up a barricade, and the wavy lines are an indicator that they can shoot through it and you can't. But it's pretty weak, so put in a few shots and it's gonna disappear. The Sentinel Hive have a void grenade that explodes for heavy damage. If you get hit by it, you're gonna get the suppressed debuff, which means you can't double jump or use your abilities. When they pop super, they get to dual wield shields like an absolute badass, and they have no qualms about throwing them in your general direction. These ricochet off the walls and the floor, and if you're not careful, they'll catch you slipping with a boomerang shot from behind. You want to put as much distance between you as possible to give you the best chance at getting out of dodge. The Wizard Lightbearer is up next, and this is what happens when Crackhead Granny puts a fork in an electrical socket. Their class ability lets them drop a rift at their feet that heals them over time. There really isn't much you can do about that. F's in the chat. These throw a storm grenade that hits for a stupid amount of damage, especially in activities with Arc Burn active. When you see it coming your way, it's best just to get out of there, or else your goose might get cooked. As far as supers go, the wizard drops a straight line of arc energy across the ground that then gets hit by lightning. That's pretty easy to avoid, and you can nullify the whole thing by just running back and forth. After it's over, just break out a heavy weapon and let loose. You can stomp them into the dirt without too much trouble, and when you do, don't forget to spam your finisher to crush their ghost and make sure they stay dead. Thanks for watching.